Hello there, my name is Barnabas, your data protection pal, and today I'm going to attempt to share about the PDPA in just under 5 minutes. So ready or not, here we go. PDPA, the Personal Data Protection Act, and this is for Singapore. Now, if someone were to ask you what does the PDPA cover, then I would say the PDPA covers 3 key components. And what are the 3 key components of the provision of the PDPA? I would summarize it in these 3 simple areas. 1 is the Nric Guidelines. So there are several guidelines on how we handle unique identifiers in Singapore, and it doesn't cover only the national registration ID, it also covers passport numbers, FIN numbers, work permit numbers, S-Pass number, or any other unique identifier. So that's the Nric Guidelines. You can search the pdpc.gov.sg website to find out more about the Nric Guidelines, and there's several guidelines up there. Now the second key component of the PDPA that's really important for organizations or for you to know if you are a privacy practitioner is the Do Not Call Guidelines or Provisions, and it stands for DNC. So the DNC provisions are extremely important, and we really need to know what we can do and what we cannot do if we are going to do telemarketing. And likewise, you and I as individuals have rights to our personal data, and we should be able to know what advertisers can do and what they cannot do. Now the third key component of the PDPA, a very important component of the PDPA, because that is how the regulators, the Personal Data Protection Commission, enforces the act on organizations that breach the act itself. So it's all governed under the 11 obligations of the PDPA. So under the 11 obligations of PDPA, we really need to know how to comply with these 11 obligations. Like I said, if you do not comply, then the enforcers are going, or rather the regulators are going to enforce the obligation on our organizations. And the way to remember this 11 obligations is through a very simple abbreviation that I created together with my team, and it is short form as CNPA Prata. You can, and of course DD. So in other words, it's my father, Pa, go China, eat prata for dinner and dance. So if you remember CNPA Prata, you can remember very quickly the 11 obligations of PDPA. You may click on the video above to find out more about CNPA Prata. Now, what other components of the PDPA do we need to know? We also need to know the purpose of PDPA. And what is the purpose of PDPA? Let's explore a little bit further. If you search for the purpose of PDPA, you will find several keywords here, and I'm going to cover the keywords. If you are going to collect, use, or disclose any form of personal data, then you could be under the scope of the PDPA. So remember, if you are going to collect, use, or disclose any form of personal data, you fall under the scope of PDPA, and all organizations have the obligation to ensure that whatever you collect, use, and disclose are for a reasonable purpose. And that's where it's very important for us to exercise a lot of wisdom to ensure that whatever we collect, use, and disclose is for a reasonable purpose. And in February 2021, the Personal Data Protection Commission added 2 more obligations to the PDPA, and also added a paragraph in the purpose of PDPA that mentions 2 very key points, and I'm going to share with you right now before the 5 minutes. And the 2 keywords here are this: accountability. Accountability becomes the fundamental principle of the PDPA, and they also mention that we take a risk-based approach, very key here, a risk-based approach in handling data protection in our organizations. And therefore, we really need to also do one more final thing, and that is to respond. Respond well to data breaches. And I want to quote Mrs. Josephine Teo, our minister, and she mentioned that we want to make it, we assume that we got a data breach and respond appropriately to these data breaches. So there you go. the summary of the Personal Data Protection Act in under 5 minutes, the key components of PDPA, the purpose of PDPA, and of course the keywords here. So my name is Mark Barnabas, your Data Protection Pal. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and of course, connect to me if you need more information. Of course, we want to help you to comply to PDPA. And well, remember, be good, be safe, and take care of your personal data. Good day and be safe.